According to the Oxford Dictionary, the word vegetarian is defined as a person who does not eat meat or fish and sometimes other animal products, especially for moral, religious, or even health reasons. You might be wondering, why on earth would anybody decide to be a vegetarian? Well, today we're going to look at the moral reasons, and after doing some research, I learned that vegetarianism takes a stand for the environment, animal rights, and even human rights. Let's begin with the environment. Since humans have started to industrialize, the Earth's natural resources, such as trees, fossil fuels, and water, have been reduced greatly. Vegetarians believe that cutting out a meat-based diet can slow down the depletion of our Earth's natural resources. A study done by a group called A Well-Fed World found that a meat-based diet uses up to 20 times more land than a vegetarian diet, contributes to deforestation, and degrades the land that it does use. It takes 12 times as much land, 13 times as much fossil fuel, and 15 times as much water to produce 1 pound of animal protein versus 1 pound of soy protein. Not only does the meat industry use up a lot of our resources, but it alone contributes a substantial amount to the greenhouse gas emissions such as nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide, and methane. The Food and Agricultural Organization found that producing half a pound of hamburger releases nearly as much greenhouse gas into the atmosphere as driving a car such as a BMW only 10 miles. People who have willingly converted to vegetarianism decided that if a meatless diet would be better for the environment, then it would be a sacrifice worth making. Now that we've discussed how vegetarianism takes a stand for the environment, let's look at their moral viewpoint on animal rights. The majority of our society looks down upon people who would ever even think to harm one of our pets. From a vegetarian's viewpoint, why is a cow, a pig, or chicken any different from our cats or our dogs? According to ASPCA, the American Society for Prevention of Animal Cruelty, over 99% of farm animals are raised in factory farms, which focuses on profit and efficiency at the expense of the animal's welfare. Looking at how these animals are treated, many people decide to make the moral decision to stay clear of the meat industry and its practices. A lot of animals are shoved into small spaces. They don't get a chance to move around, be outside, and not to mention the unclean living environment that it creates. Animals are made to grow at an unnaturally fast pace, causing them to be in pain, unable to walk and move properly, and even cause heart problems. Many females are pregnant throughout their entire lives. Animals undergo mutilations to their tails, testicles, horns, toes, or even beaks, given no medication, and are denied individual veterinary care. Processes like these tug at certain people's heartstrings, and the treatment of animals alone can convert a meat eater to decide on a completely meat-free diet. Not only do vegetarians stand up for the environment and animal rights, but even human rights as well. OSHA, or the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, reported that in the U.S. alone, the agriculture industry ranks among the most dangerous industries, with about 9,003 farm workers and laborers dying from work-related injuries between 1992 and 2009. Many of these workers are undocumented and therefore have very little choices in jobs, doing anything they can to support their families. This industry puts them in situations in which they become fearful to report any illness or injury because it can result in deportation. Not only are undocumented workers at risk, but your average Joe employed by this industry is as well. The industry accounts for a great amount of respiratory hazards caused from breathing in toxic fumes such as hydrogen sulfide from the manure pits, an extremely toxic gas called silo gas made up of carbon dioxide and nitrogen dioxide, which are released from the farm silos. Vegetarians also firmly believe that every human has the right to eat, and I'm sure we could all agree. However, they think that vegetarianism is a more efficient way to solve world hunger than a meat-based diet. Nearly 80% of the world's soybeans and up to 50% of the world's corn are fed to animals that we kill for our meat. Instead of using this produce in factory farms, they strongly suggest we distribute its produce among the people throughout the world. It has been shown by the Food and Agricultural Organization that a diet of meat and dairy products is unsustainable. That is, the more people eat meat, the less people are fed. It takes 10 pounds of plant protein to produce 1 pound of beef protein. Vegetarians believe that these plants were fed instead to humans than animals. More food would be available to conquer our world hunger. Here we see the moral reasons as to why people are willing to convert to vegetarianism. It takes a stand for the environment, animal rights, and human rights. Vegetarianism believes that the best way to slow environmental contamination and prevent violations against animal and human rights is to cut out meat entirely from our diets. Nearly 7.3 Americans are vegetarians. Excluding religion, they become this way from one or combination of these moral dilemmas.